What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that all of you guys are having an amazing Memorial Day weekend. So let's talk about all these multiple arrests that have occurred with the Love and Marriage Huntsville cast within a very short period of time, right? So, Destiny was the first to get arrested again because we saw her and I made a separate video during her first arrest. And she was arrested for fraud, essentially signing her ex-husband Laderic's name on a utility bill. And she showed us on live where she went to the jail, turned herself in. Her father was there supporting her. Things happen. Okay. Well, she got arrested again for fraud on the 16th of this month, right? So that was recent, and it was right after her birthday. Um, so okay, that was on May 16th that she was arrested once again for fraud and identity theft. All right, bet. Now we have Maurice, who was arrested, and this was, of course, recent, right? Just yesterday. He was arrested for a DUI, and he was arrested at around noon, 12:04 p.m. So he was leaving Black, which is the business that his brother Marceau and Tisha own, a bar. And Funky Daniva, who's a content creator, he was down there partying with them. He was doing his Down at the Bar series. And so Maurice had on that white shirt in his live video, Funky's IG live. And so here we see him be arrested, and he got released just around midnight on a bond, $5,000. So, okay, that was at midnight. Well, while Maurice was getting out this morning at around 6 in the morning, Lance Fletcher, Nell and Chris's son, gets arrested for a warrant, and he was essentially hitting parked cars. And a lot of people, a lot of content creators have asked this question, like, what is going on down in Huntsville, right? What's going on with the cast? What is up? Well, I want to take a stab at it. I don't know. And I'm supporting Miss Black Titanic and the rest of the content creators by sitting this season out covering their specific shows. But all of this has occurred within these past few weeks, right? So we have Destiny being arrested on May 16th for her second offense in regards to fraud and identity theft. And then yesterday, Maurice gets arrested. And then this morning, Lance gets arrested. Am I the only person that sees a pattern? And when I say that, I'm actually concerned, right? And this is why. I feel like everything that's going on in our country with them, banning books, taking away all the diversity and equity and initiative, getting rid of affirmative action, rolling back child labor laws, rolling back, they got rid of Roe versus Wade, basically going after all of the civil liberties and rights that so many that have come before us were fighting for. Because this was a very, very short period in American history that we had rights as people. Dr. Martin Luther King left Atlanta. And do y'all know where he went? He went to Alabama, okay? That wasn't just happenstance. There was racism all over the country, all over the South. He could have easily went to Mississippi or Louisiana, but he chose Alabama for a very specific reason, because that's where it was the worst. Do y'all know where they are trying to build the biggest prison in our country that is $1 billion with a B, right? Not in Atlanta, although that Cop City is problematic in and of itself. They are building this $1 billion prison in Alabama, right? This is not just happenstance. This is not just, you know, um, these cops are just waking up and just so happens that they are, you know, accidentally picking up people from Love and Marriage Huntsville. No, I've been to Huntsville several times. I used to live when I was a kid, and I actually still have family in Huntsville. But when I was a kid, we lived down south for a few years before moving back up to the Midwest. And Huntsville is a small town. But when I tell you that Alabama is not a progressive state in terms of civil liberties, the governor, Kay Ivey, I believe that's her name, something like that, Governor Kay. She reminds me a lot of like Bull Connor and a lot of very right wing conservative, that whole ideology where she does not advocate for equality in our country. She, just recently signed into law essentially banning everything that has to do with diversity initiatives. Like everything that Dr. King and everybody who came, after him and marched with him, everything that everybody was fighting for. And Reverend Jesse Jackson is still alive. This wasn't that long ago. And so they're wiping away everything. They're banning books and burning books and banning, teaching Black history in Florida. And it's just like, it's crazy how everything is eradicated. But that brings me to, these three cast members. You guys are visible. You're on a television show on the Oprah Winfrey Network, by the way, in a state where they are essentially banning all the civil liberties, right? And all the initiatives that advocate for equality. That's not by happenstance. They didn't just stop segregation in the South because it was the morally right thing to do. They did so because the Montgomery boycott, right, spearheaded by Dr. King, almost broke that city. I mean, completely. Like it was for 18 months. And those people, our ancestors stood on business and they walked. They refused to ride the bus for 18 months. Can you imagine? A year and a half? And they stood on business. And that city almost went bankrupt. That is what, when you hit people where their money is, then that's when change occurs. But these cops didn't change. Their attitudes and their beliefs toward people of color didn't change. And I feel like they have a very specific target demographic and that they are looking to fill this huge $1 billion prison that they're building. They have no problem, defunding libraries and, defunding public schools and just everything else, but they're putting all their money into cops and prisons, the military and prisons, right? The militarization of cops specifically in prisons. And they are looking for a specific demographic, a target demographic, if you will, heavy on the target, by the way. And who are the most visible people that they see in Huntsville on a network that was essentially started by a Black woman that has essentially an all Black cast? We have right here. You guys cannot. And then on top of that, this is Memorial Day weekend. Now, I don't care where you are in the country. I feel like everybody knows that those good old boys are out. Okay. That's what my grandparents used to say. And all my friends and, aunties and uncles, the boys is out circulating. Memorial Day weekend, that is the last place. That's the last, weekend that you want to act up. Seriously, the only weekend that I could think that's more patrolled than heavily patrolled than that is like the 4th of July. But all the cops is out during Memorial Day weekend. This is the last place you want to be catching DUIs and hitting parked cars and, you know, just petty misdemeanor crimes. Because I'm telling you, I would not be surprised if they had specific officers that are dedicated to watching the cast of Marriage, Love and Marriage Huntsville. Huntsville is very small, and it's only 2 hours away from this $1 billion prison that they're building. It's in Elmore, Alabama, but the prisons are not going to fill themselves. But they are going to do a good job of trying to find people who, if you commit enough misdemeanor petty offenses, they begin to turn into felonies. And these prisons are for profit, and they use prison labor to fund, corporations. It's essentially slave labor. I mean, let's be real. The 13th Amendment says that slavery was outlawed except for when you commit a crime. Then this country's okay with slavery. So with that being said, I just, I wanted to share my thoughts, but I couldn't keep up with all the people. I'm about to make a video about Nicki Minaj getting arrested. People, we gotta wake up, seriously, because the tide is changing, and we have to be smart how we move and how we navigate in this world. But you guys, let me know your thoughts on the cast of Love and Marriage Huntsville in these multiple arrests. I wish them the best, because Huntsville is too small of a town, and it's not progressive enough for them to be making these careless mistakes. But that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.